Hello, folks. Hope everybody's doing well. So it is, without a doubt, getting chillier. I'm in the Midwest, Illinois, and the cool weather is coming. And every time around this year, I've always said I get a tug, a hankering to buy another watch. And I have all of a sudden become fascinated with homages, which is an area of watch collecting that I never had an interest in. And that has seemed to change because I am blown away with this particular watch. If you're looking at the Doxa lineage and history of watches, and you're contemplating on purchasing a Doxa Sub 300T, which is what this Homage is referencing. This is the Seestern Sub 300T. Here is the nice little plastic box that comes shipped in from China, AliExpress. It's a Sugas Seestern, and you get it in this nice packaging, which I took it out. Obviously, it's very well wrapped. You get a warranty card, which of course, that's as good as the printing it's on. You get a little manual. You get a little a bracelet pin pusher tool, and you get a spring bar tool somewhere in here. Let's see, where did it get buried to? Oh yeah, you get a little inexpensive items you could source out for less than $1. But it's nice that they threw it in because they are usable, and they you could use them just to remove pins. But anyways, there's the plastic box. It's very typical of what you'll see with Homage watches from China, AliExpress. It's got the lockings on the side. It's a neat little touch. It's got this foam inside. So anyways, we don't want to talk about the box. We want to talk about the watch. So I have historically been not a Homage type person. I have a collection of genuine watches, and I always viewed them as like they are. I mean, it's obviously it's kind of a nice thing to have. If you can get a Homage, I always thought if you could get a Homage of the real deal that you maybe could wear on a vacation, and keep the real one at home, and it's got 90% of the look of the genuine, but it's not, violating the copyright rules. I think that has changed over the last 2 decades, because I recall Invicta getting in a little troubled water with Rolex when they started homaging in the late 90s. I think it was the Invicta 8926 Pro Diver. Which, to that watch's credit, it's been around for a long time and it's still offered to this day. I think they had to make some subtle changes to it to differentiate a little bit more from the Sub, which that one at the time was the one, the 5-digit reference that it was referencing, the previous generation of Sub. I think they agreed to, obviously they don't want to go through a lengthy lawsuit to make some changes. I can't remember the details of it, but it kind of set the tone for Homage watches, I think, moving forward. And I think those rules have obviously been lightened up a bit. And of course, we're talking about, obviously, if you go on AliExpress and look at all the Homages, you can pretty much get the guess that a lot of these were maybe at one time replica deals that decided to go legit, or even may have factories that make replica watches, and they're making these ones without the name branding. So you can get into the politics of that, yay or nay, if it's good or bad. Some people have, lights a fire up there, what. They don't want no part of it. Some people look at it just as I see it, is that there are some people that, especially younger people or people, starting out in life who are trying to raise kids, who just can't afford, like in this case, the Doxa Sub 300T, which is a sapphire crystal version, is $2,000 retail. They're only given maybe a small, maybe $100 off. And there's not a lot of dealers here in the United States even to begin with. It's not it's not like a Rolex or Tudor or even some of the other, like even a Tissot level, in my opinion. It's very hard to find. So if you're on the fence and you want to just try it out, and you're just going like I did, going down the cushion case rabbit hole, especially coming from the Rolex Tudor world, where cases were a little bit different than these, you may want to give this watch a try for $100, because it is an unbelievably well-built tank of a watch that is just, it has some improvements coming from the mouths of Doxa aficionados of the 300, the original 300T with the plastic crystal, the dome crystal, going back to the 60s, that they wish had on the current iterations that this one does have. And there's some, man, I'll tell you, I can't even fathom how this is $100 Homage and it's built this well. It is housing a Seiko NH35, which a lot of these AliExpress watches you will see have. It's the go-to movement, or the PT, I think it's a PT 5000 some will use, which is basically a clone of an ETA 2824-2. And they're both, obviously, they genuine Seiko here, NH35, where you can get a clone of an ETA. The clones of the ETAs are just as robust. Because there are some things back where China got a lot of the rights to be able to have the tooling for some ETA watches. I'm not sure of the details of that, but they can make a clone movement, and it's legal. It's not infringing any copyrights. As like Salida does, the SW2000, and a few others that make it. They can make the clones. They can't call it an ETA, but they can call it a derivative of. In this case, like for the Chinese market, they call it the PT 5000. So anyways, this is the NH35 Seiko movement. So you're already starting with a well-known, tried and true movement. One, you could easily say it's a step up from the awesome, iconic SKX007, which I said 7R26 or something like that. It wasn't even, you couldn't even wind it. And I'm not sure if it was hackable. This is hackable, hand winding, and it's buttery smooth. And you won't be able to hear it because you can barely hear it. And I'll bring it close to the camera, use my cell phone here. Okay, there's the time setting. I'll move let me move this out of the way here so you can see. So if you let's start with the Doxa printing. They put it in a correct spot off to the left, the brand name. Then to the lower right, they have the automatic, it doesn't say exactly what the Doxa says, but it says 200 meters / 660 feet. So it's meters first. Very similar dial layout to the orange. And Doxa had, if you don't know, Doxa had actually in the 60s when they developed this watch, they had tested it in depth with which dials would be the most visible. And obviously orange became the dominant one. So that's why Doxa kind of, orange is kind of sorry, I'm moving the camera, moving you here. Doxa orange dial is kind of the original, what they clarify as the original diver's color. And this one replicates it. It's not replica again, it's a homages, but it homages it very nicely. This is version, I think, 4. So it fixed when this Seestern first came out with this homage back about 3 years ago, I think, or 3 or 4 years ago. It had version 1. It didn't even have a lume pit. They corrected a lot of problems. And actually, hearing and reading on forums and Doxa, like longtime Doxa collectors who have bought this watch just out of curiosity because they own either a new one or an original older 60s or 70s vintage, say that this is an excellent they have given it high regard. And after buying it and trying it out, I loved it so much. I went online a couple days later and ordered the Caribbean Blue, which is a blue with the orange writing because it has the orange on the bezel. Now, Tactical Frog makes a homage of this as well, but where they kind of fail, in my opinion, is, well, you got to get past the Tactical Frog, and the dial printing is not very Doxa-like because, like I said, Doxa, the original, has the brand name on the upper left quadrant, and then the lower right is the spec. Whereas the Tactical Frog has it under the actual frog symbol under the 12, and it's more in line with a traditional watch. So this is very close to the homaging the original Doxa 3, the current 300T. Sapphire crystal. Bezel action is very nice, and this is where, in my opinion, and in many's opinion, is where the Tactical Frog fails, is if you see the inner and outer rings with the measurements and the timing, both turn like the genuine Doxa 300T. And it's very, very tight. There's very little back and forth looseness in the bezel. Where the Tactical Frog kind of drops the ball is that only the outer ring spins, which is really not accurate to the timing of how, for depth and stuff like that, and ascending back up with your, with oxygen tank. So this is keeping with the original concept of the original Doxa. So they hit, it's definitely a hit in that area over the Tactical Frog. And I think Steel Dive makes one of these too, but I think it's more based off the Tactical Frog case. Where Tactical Frog gets it right a little bit closer to the original is if you look at how this case design is, it kind of gets thicker towards the middle and kind of bows here on the top. The original Doxa is more thinner consistently across, and the Doxa does never had case drilled lug holes. This does, and a lot of people think that's very cool, including myself. Again, we're not replicating one-to-one here. This is a homage, so it's taking many aspects of the genuine watch, in this case the Doxa Sub 300T, and it's maybe making some minor changes maybe they feel that it should always had. There's the starfish. I don't know if you could see it. I apologize because it's a rainy day here in Illinois. It's kind of dark and cloudy out. I'm in my kitchen, so I apologize if I'll try to get you the best views you can. But there's the starfish on the logo. Very smooth crown, no grinding. And there's the starfish jumping into the wave in the back. I don't know if you can see it. Let me get my fat fingers out of the way here. The case back is awesome. And then you got the starfish imprinting onto the back of the clasp. Where this one probably by many, apparently according to many owners, there are people who have bought the Doxa 300T, sold it because of the bracelet. So the Doxa 300, if you look at it closely, you'll see that the end links stick out further, and the first link is almost the width, pretty much close to the width of the case. So it doesn't look correct to the eye. Even I looked at it and said, yeah, they could have done. When you look at the Seestern and how they did it, it's almost like they had the wherewithal to make the improvements that they seen in the 300, the genuine. And I gotta say, 2024 year has been the year for Chinese homages. They are hitting it out of the park. And this is coming from somebody who has traditionally not been a fan of homage watches. To me, a homage watch like the Invicta Pro Diver I bought one, wore it for a while, and sometimes I'll wear it. Like, I always think if I'm going on vacation out of state or somewhere like where I'm walking down the city and I don't want to be sticking out or for theft, or if I lose it, that's why homage watches are great. Or if you're doing some gardening or working on the car. Well, if you're working on the car, I don't care if you have a $100 watch, you should take this off because you don't want to get snagged on anything for safety and just keeping your watch nice. $100, $1,000, $2,000. It's still, this watch, and when I get into the price of $100, I got it for $114, and I forgot to use a coupon on AliExpress. If you jump on eBay, if you jump on Amazon, sometimes Amazon has this. If you, let's see, eBay, Amazon, or if you go on to Seestern store, you can buy it for $189 as a typical, around $200, $189 to $200. You could get the same watch for around $100. Like I said, I liked this so much. I was so impressed with it. 2 days later, I jumped on and bought the Caribbean Blue. And that's coming also. And also I'm getting, even though I own genuine like several Rolexes and other, I even own a brand new SKX 007 I bought brand new. I owned it for like 5 years and just shocked to see what they're going for today. Good used examples. Who would ever think I think I paid like $150 for it. Whoever thought a Seiko would be worth over $400, $500? It just seems crazy to me. But I guess that they figure people want one if somebody has a good, clean example. That's what, because I don't sell my watches, but I just get miffed. I don't like sometimes the prices getting so out of control because it removes people with certain economic situations from enjoying the hobby. And that's why I like homages, why I'm starting to rejoice and love homages, is it gives people the option of being able to start a very nice collection. And this watch, to me, is an example of why you may want to not even buy the genuine Doxa. I hate to say that, but there are people who have bought the genuine Doxa, hated it for the bracelet, hated it for a couple other reasons, sold it and bought the Seestern and are more happy. I kid you not. Obviously, they put money back in their bank account, whatever they got for it, because they do, the Doxa holds their value. And that's not to say not to buy a Doxa. I think I would buy a genuine Doxa for $2,000, but I'm not in that mood. I do get that hankering every time this year to buy another watch, but this year I'm just doing the homages just to, and I'm sorry, I'm going to the right of the camera here. I apologize for that. I am just been enamored with the homages. I'm just, like I said, China is hitting it out of the park. I'm looking at the Tactical Frog FXD. Now that's where I would say they're the only ones that kind of make, as far as I know, a titanium homage to the Pelagos FXD on the NATO. It looks like they hit that one out of the park, but I don't really like the frog logo. I don't know why I have a problem with it. But to me, in a diver's watch like that, it works because, you think Tactical Frog, wet, aqua, makes sense. You think that would work here, but to me, the layout of the dial at Seestern is kind of critical because you want that, the branding where it would say Doxa on the left, and it doesn't say Doxa. This is not a replica. This is a homage. But it's, case is a little bit different, but, the drilled lugs, the awesome beads of rice bracelet, the clasp, push button deploying. I think version 1 might have not been push button. I'd have to look at it. Slight tapering down to maybe a couple millimeters smaller, standard milled clasp. There's your little nub there for clicking it in, fold over, again, push button, very smooth. Just very nice bracelet, polished sides. Again, this is where the original Doxa, I think, kind of craps the bed a little bit, in my opinion. And I don't think that's original to the original 60s design. I think this is closer to the 60s, whereas the band never overextends side to side over the case. I don't know what, they were going for a look, obviously, there, but this is obviously, it starts, I can't remember if this is 19 millimeter, but then it starts 19, I don't think this is 20, it's either 19 or 18. I think it's 19 millimeter, and it tapers down to like 17 or 18 millimeter. Not a very large taper, but just a beautiful, I've been lately getting fascinated with beads of rice bracelets. Like I said, the bezel action is very tight, very nice and clicky, smooth. Remember to hold it for the camera, I'm sorry. And the loom is very good, but I would say, I'm not an original Doxa owner, but genuine Doxa owners complain about the loom. They're saying this is on par with the loom of the genuine Doxa as far as longevity, and actually a little bit brighter initially. Let me see if I got one of those. Okay, let's see if I can charge it. It's not really that. I got the lights on. One thing this watch does that I think a lot of people wish the many watches, including the Doxa 300T, is if you look at the date, is the date wheel's got loom on it as well. It's got kind of like a blue loom. It's very nice, and you can still see it, especially as your eyes waking up like maybe 2 hours later after sleep, or 3 hours ago, use the bathroom or whatever you're doing, grab a sandwich like my dad used to do, 2 a.m. in the morning. I never recovered from seeing him in his underwear eating a bologna sandwich, but that was his thing. God rest his soul. But anyways, he was a character, my father. Has long been gone for many years, but he was World War II veteran. But anyways, back on subject here. You can't see it very legible at night. The loom is very good. I think this watch is built like a tank. Everybody who's done reviews on this have been very positive on it. It has really nothing negative to say. Like I said, Seiko NH35, very smooth winding. You got hacking and winding, very smooth. There's your hacking, typical Seiko NH35. You screw in the, and it's got a, you won't be able to see it probably because of my light. Let me see if you can, but there is an O-ring there. So you are getting, some dual or triple sealing effect there. You got a O-ring on the crown, or the crown tube. You got probably a gasket on the inside. Again, there's the logo. Keep moving it to the right. Sorry for that. Drilled lugs are a nice touch. They're not big enough where you can take like a Rolex where you can take toothpicks. They're kind of small. You might need to take a really thin paper clip or prefer would be the 6767 Bergeon tool. A little fingerprinty there, case back design. It just one heck of a bar, unbelievable. It's worth $200 this watch, easy. Okay, but the fact that you can get it for around 100 is just makes it a amazing bargain. And the fact that there are a couple people that have bought the genuine Doxa, didn't like, because the current Doxa has changed family hands from the original, from its inception back many decades ago, to I think Jenny. I don't know if it's G. This kind of, I think it's typical spelling. I thought when I said a company owns it now, so obviously it's not the original family owners who owned it. I don't believe so, for my last reading. But they are cranking out the iterations. They actually make a sub 300T, which is a sapphire, which this one homages, and they have just a sub 300, which has got the plastic. I don't know if it's plastic or sapphire, but it's got the dome crystal of the original 60s version. It had a slight dome to it, if you prefer that look. But that one's way more expensive. The sub 300T is $2,000 retail, and there's not a lot of discounts that I've seen. Because I did consider buying one, and this was kind of like the try it before you buy it. Because every time I look up the Doxa 300T reviews on like YouTube, this watch would come up as like an amazing value, an amazing homage to the Doxa 300 T. Again, the sapphire version. This is not, and the curved crystal, the original one, just the sub 300, that it goes back to the original design with the curvature of the crystal. That one, for some reason, is way more expensive than the sapphire version, and that's really the only difference that I can see. There might be other subtle difference, but that's more closer to the original 60s, if that's what a Doxa, somebody going down a Doxa rabbit wormhole is looking for. So definitely would recommend this watch. I don't recommend any watches unless I've worn them. I've worn this for about a week and a half, I'd say. And I love this watch so much so that I went on there and bought, like I said, I bought this for $114, forgot to put in the coupon. And when I went back on there, I put in a coupon and they had a little bit different sale price, and I got it for $97 shipped. So that's after taxes. Free shipping on these from the Suguest store. They're having their special. They have them on and off. I bought the, I'll be doing a review too. I'm going down the Cushing. I was never a fan of the Cushing case design. Now all of a sudden this year it's like I'm becoming fascinated with it. I'm just trying to go outside the Rolex box. One, because I'm tired of spending over $6,000 for watches. And I early retired in 2019 from my IT job of many years. From a very large hospital. I worked IT for over 21 years at my last job. And I early retired, and I said, one thing I said is no big ticket purchases. Well, I've managed to keep that at bay somewhat. I bought that Tudor 79280p, and I bought a two-tone Datejust because that damn American Psycho kept itching my... it was a scratch that I had to itch for a two-tone. It's not an exact because actually Patrick Bateman wore a Seiko in the actual movie, but there's no question it was supposed to be a Rolex two-tone Datejust. But I got those for a bargain because I had to hunt them down for that price with a little bit of blemishes or this or that going on. So that's the only way. But this year I had wanted to buy. I was really on the fence of buying a Black Bay 54. But again, I'm trying to keep my purchases like that at bay for a while because I've got other expenses. I'm putting in new flooring in my house. Being retired with no pension, just living off your own income you've invested and saved, you got to be smart, or you're going to go back. If you got a watch hobby that's like this thing can get out of control, you got to have the next watch of the real thing. You're going to have to go to back to work if you're retired, or get a second job just to pay for your watch hobby, and that's just not a good place to be. So you got to keep it at bay. And this is where I think Homages can address that. I don't know if I would buy I was pretty set on buying the Doxa Sub 300T. I actually started looking at the 200 unisex 200T, which has more shinier dials, really sunburst dials, which looks cooler, but which they don't offer in the 300 series. the sunburst dials, and they have a green that's just awesome, and a Caribbean blue starburst instead of the flat blue, which is the one I ordered of the Homage 2, the Caribbean, is just so beautiful with the orange, orange inlays here on the bezel, and you can see the timing marks here, the diving for the bezel action. But I ordered that one just to have the blue model. So I'm done with going down the Homage of the Doxa. Now I'm going down to Captain Willard and the Seiko 60s flat cushion cases, and I'll be doing some reviews of that. So stay tuned. I keep moving this thing off camera, and I apologize for that. But if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. If you really want to buy a Doxa and you're new to it, buy the Seestern 300T on AliExpress. Even if you don't want to go the AliExpress route, this watch is worth $200. No question about it. You're not overpaying. It is. Wait until you get it in your hand. You're going to be shocked. And then you got people who are Doxa fans that are saying, "Look, I'll be honest with you. This watch gets more right than the current genuine holder of Doxa gets with the current iterations of Doxa." That's a pretty huge statement from a Doxa collector. It's still nice to have the genuine, but you can try it out and see if you even like it, because some people might be new to this cushion case. They might not like where the case over exceeds the dial ratio and stuff like that. And how do you know you're just gonna order it blindly, a $2,000 watch off the internet? And since you don't know if you don't know a lot about it, buy the Seestern. It's as close as you can get. With some improvements, like I said, to me, the original Doxa didn't have the drilled lugs for easy. You can switch to a NATO if you want to do that, if that's your thing. I keep moving to the right. I apologize. The original, you still have to use the spring bar tool. With this, you could use the thin paper clip, like I said, and put on a NATO if you don't have the tool. Actually, you could use, what am I saying? You got the tool inside, the little cheap tool they give you. So awesome watch. Without hesitation, I highly recommend it. A lot of people will buy the Tiffany blue dial first, because the Tiffany does, when you're looking at them, they have silver, yellow, they have this traditional orange, but orange is the traditional color that Doxa is most known for. I would definitely, unless you're adverse to an orange dial watch, if you just really can't stand it, I would start with the orange dial, honest to God. You won't have regret, and then you can go back and buy variations as you see them on sale or whatever, like I did. Even I like the silver dial, and I'll probably eventually buy a silver dial one, because I like that silver with the orange writing on the top of the bezel here. There's just something about it that grabs me. I always like silver dial watches, and especially got the silver with the it kind of all blends in, and really the orange and the black, very glossy black hands, painted, lacquered, or whatever paint they use, acrylic, very shiny. Like I said, the lume's very good. It does die off quick, but it's still legible at night. But it's no worse than the original Doxa, which I watched tons of videos, and people were saying the lume on the genuine Doxa, when somebody says, well, the Seestern doesn't last very long, and there'll be, well, I own, several Doxa new models, and it's actually no better. It's exactly the same, in some areas more improved. So there you go. That's coming from, you can look them up yourself. Go watch some of them that have owned the Doxa or own both of them side to side. Highly recommended. Unbelievable homage to the Doxa 300T on a budget, especially. And again, I just love the fact that you can get into this hobby if you're young, starting out, and you're in an apartment. And I'm an old fart. I'm in my 50s, but if we were all young, starting out, you have to buy furniture for your apartment. You're working to pay your bills, and you want to start a watch hobby, you can start the watch hobby with these. I would highly recommend going down this road because you got so much value here. It's unbelievable. This to me, I'll make a blanket statement. This to me at even $400 is a killer bargain for what it is. You will get it on your wrist. You unpack it with the box. Of course, who cares about the box, which is typical box you see with a lot of AliExpress purchases. But I think you get this box even if no matter where you order it with the spring bar tool. It's just nice little touches. It's really like China really are enthusiasts of all the watches. They are really probably hitting out of the park more than anybody else. And I'm honest to God, I'm not kidding you. When it comes to watches, they seem to be very amongst the biggest enthusiasts and know how to make it pleasing and with some improvements. I just got to give them credit where credit's due. You got to call it like it is. They really hit it out of the park with this one. I'm thoroughly impressed. Highly recommended for getting into the Doxa, getting your feet wet into the Doxa world. Okay. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. I'll be doing, I ordered the Steel Dive, Captain Willard. I'll be doing a review on that. I'm just loving going down the affordable Homage, which is a different realm for me, but I'm just really enjoying it. This obviously comes from many years ago when I bought the Invicta Pro Diver, but I'm just loving going down this rabbit hole and not going broke doing it. So thanks again for watching, and please stay tuned. I'll be doing other reviews. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.